Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress. This video is on viewers game number 101 and on the next move in the game between myself and the Chess to Impress viewers. But first we have to look at a dramatic moment from the first round in the Singuefield Cup, the elite tournament played in St. Louis in the US. 5 of the 6 games were quite uneventful draws, but Jan Nepomniachtchi from Russia was still playing against Viswanathan Anand from India. The 15th world champion, Anand was pushing in an endgame, and this position is after the 76th move, rook a8 to a7 from Nepomniachtchi. As you can see, black is a piece up, but there is very little material left, and if white will be able to swap the last pair of pawns, then it's a theoretical draw with rook and knight versus the rook. And objectively this position is equal. Nepomniachtchi almost had his draw after hours of defending. He had enough time on the clock, over 15 minutes, while Anand only had a few minutes left. King g5 was played by Anand, and he said in his interview after the game, "I expected white to make 2 accurate moves and then it would be a handshake for a draw." And it would be indeed after king c5 attacking the knight. Then rook d7 is a normal move, protecting the knight, and then rook a8, preparing the move a5, a6 with the intention of swapping that last pawn, and that would give white his draw. But after king g5, Nepomniachtchi relaxed too early, and that is very dangerous. It happens over and over again, not only to amateur players, but even the top professionals. They are tired, they relax after they have been defending for many hours, and they think they have the draw in hand, and they make a terrible mistake. Instead of king c5, Nepomniachtchi played king c4, and that makes a huge difference. Anand didn't need much time to find a refutation. If you haven't seen it yet, you can look for yourself. It's very nice. It will make the puzzle books. Anand played b7, b5 check. He said in his interview he played this quickly before Nepomniachtchi would change his mind. That was a joke, of course. Why is this winning for black? Well, the king is in check, and it is a discovered attack on your rook. So the rook is hanging and the king is in check. There still is a move, a takes b6 en passant, deals with the check and protects the rook, but there is knight takes b6 check. The king is in check again, king b5, and the rook is still hanging. King takes b6, rook d7, and this is an elementary endgame. So in this position, king c4, and then b5 check with the discovered attack. Grandmaster Ashley in the live broadcast made 2 interesting comments. First he said, "This is something that top players are prone to. They don't make many mistakes, but if they make mistakes, it's often to do with a discovered attack." And this was one of them. b5 check with a discovered attack from black's rook on white's rook. And he also said, "Amateur players often say, 'How stupid am I to have missed a move?' Well, sometimes we are all stupid, even the elite players, and that makes us feel all a little bit better." Apart from poor Jan Nepomniachtchi, of course, he must have had a bad night's sleep after what happened to him at the end of this game. Here we see the drama in a few pictures, a few screenshots from the live broadcast. On the left, we see Jan Nepomniachtchi. His right hand is making that move, king b5 to c4. Anand is there on the right, and he makes the next move, b7, b5. You can see Jan Nepomniachtchi's face. He realized immediately what he had done. You can see the clock there. Anand only has 2 minutes. Nepomniachtchi still has 15 minutes. So it was not a matter of time trouble. It was a matter of relaxing after thinking the draw had been reached, and tiredness after many hours of play. Nepomniachtchi immediately resigned, and this picture is from just a few seconds later, with the players having very different emotions at this time. Now let's move to a slightly lower level. This is viewers game number 101, and it is Evan Morris Reiser's turn. My name is Evan Morris Reiser, and I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, to a Jamaican mother and Jewish father. Brooklyn, New York is holy turf for chess players. That's where Bobby Fischer grew up. My profession is as an actor. I played chess obsessively for 2 years. The first year playing only online and the second year playing in tournaments. I achieved a USCF rating of 1600 plus in about half a year of competitive play. That is very impressive. I love this game. Please use my notes in the video. Every game is a story and I want inexperienced and young players to relate and be motivated by my experience playing this game. Every chess game between humans is a dramatic story. Call it Creating Your Future, Evan says. It was played at a Marshall Chess Club when I was still unrated by the USCF. My opponent had a rating of 1372. Thank you, Rick. Continued success with your channel. And Evan opened this game in a Marshall Chess Club with e4. The Marshall Chess Club is also holy ground. Many of the greats of our game have played there. Evan's opponent was Ethan Ronan and he played the French defense. d4, d5, knight c3, and here the main move in theory is bishop b4, but black played knight f6. e5 by Evan. Bishop g5 is the main move, but e5 was played. Knight back to d7, f4, c5, and here knight f3 is the main move, but Evan played bishop e3. Knight c6, knight f3, and queen b6 as played in the game is the third most popular option according to the database. C takes d4 and a6 are both more popular. But queen d6 was played, attacking the pawn on b2. Knight a4 is the best move here, attacking the queen. Queen a5 check, looks like it's dropping a piece, check, and attacking a loose piece, but no, the knight can go back to c3, but also you can play c2, c3, protecting the knight that way. But Evan decided on a different move. He protects the pawn on b2 with rook b1. C takes d4, knight takes, and bishop c5. Now knight a4 was played, forking these two pieces. Queen a5 check, c3, protecting the knight as we saw in another variation, and bishop takes d4. Bishop takes, knight takes, and here queen takes d4 was played by Alexander Aljechin in 1931 in a simultaneous display in Belgrade in former Yugoslavia. But many years later, Evan Morris Reiser played it differently. He played b4 as an in-between move before taking back the knight, hitting the queen. Queen went all the way back home, and Evan took with the queen. Castling from black, bishop e2 developing, and f6 attacking white's pawn center. Bishop g4, nice move. Evan sees a weak pawn on e6 in black's camp, and he's attacking it. Queen e7, defending that pawn. Evan castled, and b6. Knight b2, Evan talked to his pieces, and his knight is telling him that it wants to be rerouted, as it has no future on a4. There's no clear squares to go to from a4, so the knight is going to be rerouted. Bishop a6, hitting the rook. And here c4 is the best move and go to the engine with a white advantage. But Evan played rook f2, saving his rook. And that's not a good move, because now black can get an advantage. With f takes e5, it was not played. Let's look at the variation. You have to take back, and then the rook takes on f2, king takes, and with a tempo the other rook comes into the game. Check, king g1, and queen f7, threatening checkmate, and black has an advantage here. What is the checkmate? Let's make a very silly move for white, just to show the checkmate. Let's play a3, then we have this mating combination. Queen f1 check. It's not really a sacrifice, because it's a mate. On the next move, the rook is protected by the bishop. So that's a threat after queen f7, so white has to play something like h4 here, making Luft for his king, but black is better. So all that after rook f2, which was a bad move, and then f takes e5. But Ethan Ronan did not see it. He played rook ac8, He missed his chance for an advantage. A4 from Evan, and f takes e5 is still good for black, but black played bishop c4 here. Rook e1, and now white is threatening to take on f6, but black does not see it. He should play f5 here, but he played a5 instead, and that's a bad move, because now Evan took on f6. He comments here, "No, the opening is not my strongest suit and the middle game was devoid of a clear plan for me, but I finally felt like a chess player because with the 22nd move, which is this move, I initiated a sequence that created a good endgame for me. My will to win carried me through." Nice prose from Evan. Black took with the rook, keeping the pawn protected well enough. Knight takes c4, rook takes c4, and now a very nice move from Evan. He took with the queen on d5, and he says, "This was a fun move to play. The surprise on my opponent's face and in his body language gave me joy. I promptly got up from the board and went to the bathroom." Yes, it's a very nice move. It wins a pawn. The queen was taken, but now black's queen is hanging. Little combination that has given white a pawn. The knight is hanging, so knight f8. And here, bishop f3 is the best move in the position with a big white advantage, hitting the pawn on d5. But Evan played rook e5 instead, and that's not as strong. Here rook takes e3 is the best move, and the position is about equal, but black played a bad one. Rook c takes f4. And why it is bad we'll see now, because Evan found a refutation. Rook takes, and now bishop f3 is still very strong. And a takes b4. Move 28, says Evan, was played with a draw offer from black. I refused, even though I was tired, because I saw that he made a mistake. I saw that I could emerge with a queenside majority and prevent any activity for black. Yes, not just a queenside majority as we'll see, but also an extra pawn. Evan took on d5 with check. King stepped aside, and now a lovely move. The best move of the game played by Evan. Really nice. Evan found g3 here on the 30th move. He says, "A simple move that my opponent missed. I felt that only I could win if we played on." And that is true. Only white is going to win this game. What does the g3 move do? Well, it is forcing the rook off the 4th rank. And that's what makes it so strong. You cannot stay in the 4th rank. Rook g4 would be the only square that is safe, because then there is rook e8. And white is going to win the knight. The king cannot protect the knight because of the bishop. And the rook is off track. So the rook has to stay on the f-file. And rook f6 was played. But now Evan could take on b4. And has an extra pawn. g6, making room for the king. a5, creating a distant pass pawn on the queen side. b takes, rook a6, hitting that pawn, but bishop b7 defends it. The rook is now defending the pawn, and the rook is attacked by the bishop. So rook a7, a6, king g7. Black has to bring his king into play, and rook b5. Here, Evan writes, "I was in tears around move 36 because I knew I was winning, and I thought about all the games I had to lose to learn how to win this way." Very nice words again from Evan. Rook b5 is good enough, but rook e8 is even quicker. Let me give you a variation. King f7. Then the rook goes to a8, forcing a rook trade, which will make the win easier. Rook takes, bishop takes, knight d7, a7, one square away from promotion, knight b6, covering the promotion square, but then bishop e4, making way for the pawn, king e6, and there, white is making a new queen. It has to be taken, bishop takes, and this is an easily winning endgame. White still has to be careful though. You have to make sure you don't end up with just the h-pawn, because the promotion square is a dark square and your bishop is of the light squares. You have to be careful that you don't end up with just that formation, but that should not be too difficult. Let's go back to the game. Rook b5 was played and also white is winning here. Knight e6, bishop c8, king f6, rook b6, and that is a very nice move from Evan. It's a way to get all the pieces off the board and win with the a-pawn. The knight is now attacked twice, only defended by the king, and the knight cannot play, it is pinned. So rook e7 is forced. And now the last move of the game. Rook takes e6 check and black resigned. All the pieces come off. Rook takes, bishop takes, king takes, and the a-pawn does the business. Will promote on the next move and an easy win for white. Very nice game from Evan. And also his comments were very eloquent and fun to read out to you. Well played, Evan, a very fine game, and it is quite impressive that you got to 1600 plus rating after only 6 months of playing. You clearly have a talent for this game. And what about our game, Rick against a Chess to Impress viewers? Let's look at the moves that were made so far. I castled last week and we had 21 votes and c7, c5 made it. A number of viewers had voted for this move for a few weeks already, and finally this move is the most popular. e7, e5 was a close second, rook fe8 was voted for twice, and 1 vote for b6, c6 and knight b6. So c7, c5 is your move on move 7, and my reply on the 8th move is d4 to d5. Is it still a King's Indian, or is it a Benoni, or is it a hybrid between the two? It doesn't really matter. This is the position, and now it is your turn again. Please let me know in the comments of this video which move you want to play. That way you will be in the draw for a chess book. At the end of the game I will raffle a chess book made available by my sponsor, The Beste Zet, which means the best move. It is a web shop for chess books. The link is in the description box of this video. I will raffle that book amongst the viewers who have taken part in this game. So please let me know what you will play on move 8. Hope you enjoyed this video, Anand's game, Evan's game, and the game between myself and yourself. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel, and please leave a comment. I will read them all and I will reply to them all. If you liked the video, it would be great if you could share it on social media by clicking the share button on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter and on Facebook. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.